Hey, everybody, and welcome to a special, nice catch, Steven, to a special 44th episode of the Collective Spotlight. I say special, well, every episode's special because I have cool guests, but this one's special because it's our first in-house guest. We got Himkar Tak, writer of Redshift. He's actually going to be in the building tomorrow for a signing, but he literally stopped by today to do the interview here in person. How are you doing today, dude?
I'm good, man. Now that I'm here.
Dude, the book Redshift. So I've had the ash can here in the store for a couple months. I've loved the premise from the get-go, but tell people a little bit about what they can expect in the world of Redshift, what the premise is, who the characters are.
So, I've been reading reviews that are coming out slowly, and people have started pegging it as like a family space saga, survival saga. So I feel like that's a pretty good way to pitch it. So I would just say that same thing. Right. It's like a family space survival.
Nice. And
story.
The setting is Mars, correct?
Setting is Mars, and then it's once Helena goes on his journey, it goes into deep space and it cuts back to Mars and deep space and over his travels.
And one of the premises, if I'm not mistaken, I think I picked this up when I was reading the ash can, is kind of the resources on Mars now are also depleting, which is part of what they kind of had to go there in the first place.
Yeah.
And now his mission is to find a new inhabitable planet?
That's his mission. Yeah, a new inhabitable planet that they can colonize.
Nice,
okay,
nice.
So the thing that was a little bit... So as I was writing, this process was like a 5-year thing. And NASA changed a lot of the discourse on Mars as they were doing research. Originally, there was no water at all, but now there is water in the north and south polar caps.
Okay.
So that stuff changed like the beginning of the book, because now, they're mining for water and ice veins. So yeah, a lot of stuff changed, like the science changed, but the story is pretty, they're going looking for a planet, and Mars is, the humans there are competing for resources.
So I can't help but think of how kind of a little bit, I guess, meta the book is, because you're talking about how Earth ran out of resources, so they had to go to Mars, and now we're at the point where now Mars is limited on resources, and they've got to go to another place, and it's almost like that anything that the humans are touching, they're kind of wrecking. Is that a little bit of the backstory in a way? Or?
I mean, humans are going to be humans, man, wherever they go. I think so. Mars doesn't have resources at all, really. The resources, you're gonna have to make them, like terraforming the land. You're gonna have to create oxygen, manufacture water somehow.
Yeah.
So they're going to be much more limited on Mars. And if you can imagine how we treat our resources here, we go to war over like tiny little things, just borders even. There, it's going to be pretty crazy.
Ooh, I'm kind of excited. I didn't think about that, because as humans, all walks of life, we get really savage over our resources.
Yeah. So, I mean, you see the cover, right?
So and actually the cover, because you got two of the covers feature some poultry, chicken.
Yeah.
So is there without
chicken.
Spoiling anything, is there farming on Mars too?
Yeah, there's got to be. You got to farm because you got to eat, man. So there's going to be farming on Mars.
Nice.
There's going to be a chicken coop.
Awesome. So tell me, because it sounds like you kept your ear to the ground on what NASA was talking about on Mars and everything like that.
Yeah.
What what were your motivations on writing a space book, a Mars book? Like, are you a big NASA and kind of space fan on your personal level?
Yeah, man. I love sci-fi. I've always loved sci-fi. I grew up reading Ray Bradbury, H.G. Wells. So I just it's always been in me. It's just this is the way I could put it down.
Nice. Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about working with Brent. I don't want to spoil too much. I think I can show I'll just show first page, but his art is really phenomenal. I think he does great with the characters. This is the cover for the ash can that I have behind me, but I thought that was really great. How was it like working with him, sending him, your layouts or, your scripts, and him turning it into reality?
Brent, he couldn't have been better for this project. I think, like, if you can, to me it looks like a Western.
Yes.
And that's what he's just like. He's good at doing that, and he brought it out into space, which is exactly the way I envisioned it. And what's what's cool about him is he's out in Ohio. He lives on a farm. He's done a bunch of books for Dark Horse,
Oh yeah.
Image, IDW. He's done a bunch of work. This is his first book as a solo artist. So
Okay.
I'm excited for him, man. Like the art is just ridiculous.
Oh
Man.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like-
There's like, I don't want to spoil it. There's a scene towards the back end where our main character gets in a little bit of trouble in relation to oxygen.
yeah.
And it looks really awesome, just how everything is cracked and everything. I mean, and there's very minimal wordage on those pages, but it
Yeah.
looks great. And
I don't want
it's
to ruin
towards
his
the back.
art, man.
Yeah. I noticed that on certain panels. It's like
Yeah.
very little word bubbles, which I like. I mean, it's a first issue. You're setting the
Yeah.
groundwork here, but I love it. When you mention space and Western, a lot of people's minds go to like Firefly and things like that.
Yeah.
And in some of the aesthetics, I kind of see, because it's obviously a deserty planet. So I kind of see that aesthetic. Did you have any influences? What were some of the things? Because you mentioned you love sci-fi. What did you love growing up? You know, whether it was reading or TV shows or anything like that. What was your influences?
Influences growing up, there's so many, man. But it wasn't just like space sci-fi. Like, you know, growing up, after school, I'd come home, I'd watch, there was like a lineup of I think it was like either G.I. Joe and then Thundercats, and then, you know, something else would come on, and I'd be absorbed for like an hour or two.
Yeah. Okay.
You
So like
know,
Masters of the Universe too.
Masters
And
of
like
the
that.
Universe,
Yeah.
That's definitely one of them. That had that cosmic feel to it, right?
Yeah.
So,
And John P. Heiser, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's literally every scout book this guy already has in his collection. So I know he's going to be grabbing a few from us. So John says, can't wait. Amazing title.
yeah, thanks, man.
But yeah,
I'm going to be talking to you soon.
Yeah. He's got his own show. So yeah,
Yeah.
John's been shopping with us for a while because he loves that we have all these signings. It's his chance to get signed books. But yeah, man, I'm so glad to have you here because Redshift, dude, I literally like it. First of all, from the time, let me talk to you about that. Scout does the ash cans, usually about 3-4 months before the book releases, and you kind of got that time. The book is out in the ether. There's people being able to read the first 5-6 pages. What was the reception you got during that time, and what was it like for you to try to? Because you can't talk too much about the book because you can't spoil it because nothing's come out yet other than those 6 pages. What was it like for you to have that amount of time, and what was the reception you got from Ashcan to now?
So far, it's been positive, and I think it doesn't have anything to do with my writing. It's just if you look at the art, and if you look at Brent has made a Sergio Leone Western out in space. That's what he did with this book. And I think, you know, you can just get it by looking at it. You don't have to read. You don't even have to read it.
It's true.
So yeah. So forget my words. Just look at the book.
Yeah, we could pretend we're gonna put out a version with no bubbles, right?
Yeah,
we're just gonna have all our. So what is the plan for what is the archetype for Redshift? Are we looking at 5-issue mini? Are you looking?
No, it's 6 issues.
6 issues.
Yeah, and then of course you have that little, you know, cliffhanger at the end.
Ooh, okay. So is it something that if the people at Scout and the people out there in reading world end up liking it, there's something that you can revisit?
Yes,
potentially?
definly.
Awesome, dude.
Space is big, man. There's a lot of stuff going on out
That's
there.
what I'm saying. Yeah. So talk to me. When we look at the covers and everything, we kind of have the feeling of like a solo, a lone survivor kind of.
Yeah.
Are there going to be other characters? Is he going to have acquaintances?
Yeah, he has a team.
Okay.
He has a team. So it is, the journey was originally, it was set with a team. There was a mutiny. So they decided to try and do it with single solo voyagers. But this specific journey, it's going to be more than one.
Nice. And is like, because obviously just from reading the synopsis, sounds like they'd be under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
The pressure of the whole, I guess, world, you know, the whole pressure of Mars. So is that felt throughout the pages that we see in first issue and throughout the rest of the story?
If I did my job, man, I hope it's felt. Yeah, it's got to be, man, because it's like it's their last chance. They've run out of resources at this point. There's, you know, so every like decade or so they pool everything together to build this rocket and send it out into space in hopes that the Voyager will come back with good news of a new Earth that we could get to and solve all the problems we have on Mars. But it's never It's never happened.
So at the point that we're at when we get
They
introduced,
ran out of water.
and they've sent off shuttles
Yeah.
before. It's not the first time.
It's not the first time.
And everyone's been unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Sounds
So-
like a grim world that you're
it is,
introducing
man.
us
Mars
to.
isn't a. It's not like a piece of cake, man. Living up there.
Yeah. I love what you're doing. And you mentioned 4 or 5 years you've been working on this.
Yeah, probably 5 years.
So how did the original idea start about? And then, how long did it take you to kind of get to that concept where you felt comfortable pitching it to Scout?
Original idea, I honestly don't remember how it came in. Ideas just come, and some of them you chase, and some of them, just chase you down. And this was one of them that came to me. It's probably has to do with whatever I was reading at the time, which I don't even remember. But like I said, I read a lot of sci-fi, a lot of space stuff. I love, I'm always interested in what NASA is doing. So it just came together. I was actually lucky enough to work with NASA JPL on this book, on the science of this book.
Really?
Yeah. So I worked with Dr. Wesley Traub, who's their head of exoplanet exploration.
Wow.
So it was pretty crazy because the stuff that NASA is working on is stuff that we read about in science fiction, but they actually believe, it can be achieved, and they're working very diligently to meet those goals.
So that leads me to 2 questions. One, what was NASA's, what was their response when you, kind of a comic writer, reached out to them saying you wanted to get some research for a comic book?
Yeah, so I, it took a lot of emails and calls, and also working my network, because they don't have a lot of time. But luckily, I think what happened was they'll take an idea and they'll bounce it around to some of the people that work there, scientists, and Dr. Traub was interested, I guess, and he reached out to me and said, look, this is something I can help you with. And so we just had a discourse about what life would be like on Mars, and if this world was a real world, how would it work?
Wow.
Yeah. So some of the stuff we discussed is really cool. We have a ton of freedom on Earth, living, at least not everywhere, but at least in the US, living here. If we were to go to Mars, that's all gone, because you just have to work together. You cannot, and simply you can't have people that are doing their own thing, because every second on Mars, you're trying to extend that second into a day, and that day into a week, and that week into a month, right? So it's all about extending life, and you need everyone to work together.
And I mean, just like something as simple as breathing, that we most of us walk out of here and we just walk out of the building and take a breath.
Yeah.
In Mars, that's entirely flipped on its head.
Like we wear masks today. You got to wear your mask out there, man. Otherwise you can't breathe.
Yeah, at all. Yeah. And you actually touch on that here in the first issue. And then my second question was, so you're writing a science fiction book. You're writing about something that hasn't happened yet. Yeah. But how much were you focused on trying to keep it as realistic as possible, despite it being sci-fi?
Wherever I can, I try, and then wherever it benefits the story, I'll just veer off a little bit. Okay. And yeah.
So a little suspension of disbelief, but you tried really to keep it grounded, right?
I try to keep it grounded where it made sense to, and then when it makes sense to break away from that structure, you move off, and you gotta tell a good story first of all. So that's
What I hadn't had a chance to look at anything else that you had done before, but is this your first Diamond published comic?
No, I had a book with IDW.
Okay.
Yeah, called Boy One. Okay. Which was about the first genetically modified human being.
We have that here in the store, actually. I gotta have you sign some of those for tomorrow.
I'll sign them all.
Yeah. So you kind of have you really do love sci-fi a little bit. That's your kind of your area,
I love
right?
Sci-fi. I love it.
Now, what got you into sci-fi as a kid? I know you mentioned that you watched G.I. Joe and all those cartoons, but did you watch? Oh my gosh, now my mind is.
Look, you got a book right there called. Yeah, you can show it. I mean, that's one of the best sci-fi movies I think ever made. Top 10.
So this is up there, right?
Movie ever made.
Yeah. This very first movie. I mean, and Philip Kennedy Johnson also been a guest on this show. But so that's why I was wondering, like Alien and things like that.
Alien, that whole universe. Definitely that was one of the things that was influencing Redshift. Just again, it's survival in space, and you have a team of astronauts is like a family. When you're up there for a long time. What was the new one that they did? I thought it was really good.
Prometheus.
Yep.
And that one talks about a little bit more of, I forget what they call them, the creators or whatever they are there.
Yeah,
but
right.
like, the natives, like kind of, there is an inhabitants there.
Yeah. So, in Redshift, it's cool because once you're out in that journey in deep space, you can do anything because who knows what's out there. So I get to touch on that in the later issues, which I think is going to be really cool.
Nice. So without, we're not trying to spoil anything, but they definitely do leave the planet. There's definitely space exploration,
leave it and they cross. Eventually, they'll get to where they're hoping to. They're aiming to. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so it's funny. I want to kind of try to, I guess, bridge these two ideas. You talked about Alien and how Alien was kind of one of your big influences, and that one, while being space, kind of based in space exploration, very much about the creatures and everything like that. Now, Redshift, you kind of changed that, where the fears and everything like that is the lack of resources. That is the enemy. That is the big bad guy right now. How did you approach kind of? You don't have a bad guy per se. It's just a bad situation.
So, I'm going to rephrase what you said. So it's not the lack of resources. It's how humans behave when there's a lack of resources. Okay. So right now, the planet Mars is governed by the ministry.
Okay.
And they, if you've read the first, is it in the first issue? It might be in the second, but all the resources are doled out to the citizens of Mars. And so you have a lot of control if you're giving people water and you're giving them air.
Yeah,
okay. So that comes into play as the story evolves.
Okay, I could totally see how that can help in the story, because that then gives you, they're almost like their own character in a way, the people in charge of the resources.
Helena goes on this journey and he leaves his little brother behind. His little brother starts getting into the politics of Mars, and so he has a prominent role as the book unfolds. He's going to be the other
okay. So
you follow. Yeah.
So it'll be like we got the space exploration, and then we'll still have a taste of Mars.
Mars you have a heavy taste of Mars.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. And how it's governed, and how how the humans are reacting to the governance.
So when you decided, we're doing this book, they have to leave Earth because there's resources. Was Mars the clear number one choice in terms of your choice for the planet that you wanted?
Yeah, it's the only choice right now. Yeah, there's no other planet we could colonize. Mars, it'd have to be, because it's the distance and it's the temperature.
Okay. Yeah. So you had already been doing some research.
There's no other place we could colonize except the moon. Yeah. And the moon would be easy. Moon would be the first jump, and then we would get to Mars.
Okay.
So we would practice on the moon and then take that to Mars is how it would unfold. Yeah.
Dude, as I'm interviewing you, I'm literally like, this guy, the Redshift universe is in your, like, I know it's in your brain, and it's just like rattling around and it's ready to be, at some point out there. Now, so you talked about that and how you could see how it would have been to the moon, to Mars.
Yeah.
Do you, are we going to see flashbacks, or are we kind of going to see just some extra, like, how are we going to establish how we're
technically
here?
It's not technically it is a flashback in the sense that once Helener's out there, his time is different than the time on Mars.
Okay.
Because when you're traveling at that, that rate, and you're sort of bending the space-time continuum, a lot of time is going to lapse on Mars, while a very short amount of time is going to lapse for the travelers.
Okay.
So in that sense, it's like a flash forward.
Okay.
I guess on Mars, it's going to jump.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see that. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So, talk to me a little bit about your main character. Give us the background on him. You mentioned that he's got a brother.
Yeah.
Has he always been a space explorer? Is he kind of thrown into this? Give us a little background on him.
So, Mom was chosen for this mission. Okay. She left her family and left Helener's brother and dad at home. So Helener has always idolized her. Growing up, went to the Academy of Exploration to learn, and did really well there until he had a tragic experience that caused PTSD and trauma for him. So he quit the Academy, but the Academy didn't quit him because they just felt that he is the right person to succeed after all these people have failed based on how he handled that trauma during his training. Okay, so he doesn't, he's an astronaut who's scared of space, but he's probably the best astronaut they have.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. And so, without spoiling it, is it known that the people that have failed on the missions before, do they perish? Do they not come back?
That you'll have to see, man.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that I want to leave it out there that it's something they might have to encounter, or they might have to figure out what's happened to these people to figure out how to get to the next steps.
So you mentioned that it's a six issue let's call it mini maxi series.
Yeah.
How much of it do you have completed already? How much do you have scripted out and written out?
Brent, if you're listening, we got to get to issue 6, man.
So are we working on 5? Is that where we're at?
Five's done. Sebastian is coloring it, and then we're working on 6.
And talk to me about, because we talked about Brent on the art, Sebastian on the colors. The colors, especially it being a book called Redshift about Mars, the red planet. I mean, how important were the colors in this book?
Yeah, I think it's Sebastian is just probably one of the best artists I know. He's the best at what he does, I think, right now. And you can just see it. It's dripping throughout that book, and his colors are ridiculous. As Brent says, he makes me look good, and I was like, man, both you guys make me look
I was
good.
just gonna say, now everybody, it's like this tree of people, everybody making each other look good. But no, I mean, the book, man, like I'm not saying it just because you're here, because Dave hooked us up. From the time I had the ash cans, I really believed that this was going to be like a good book.
Yeah,
I'm
worried. I just hope my writing can keep up with those guys.
I think, dude, I mean, the premise is yours. Like, I mean, this is your baby, and it's a phenomenal premise. I mean, I have to tell you.
Go with your suggestion and just not put any words.
We'll just have a wordless. I mean, just like Snake Eyes. We'll have a wordless issue. It's no big deal. So talk to me real quick, because you're like the 5th, 6th person we've had on the show that's been from Scout Comics. You've seen the store. We have plenty of Scout Comics. What's it been like working with the guys at Scout Comics? I mean, we know James, Charlie, and David and everything like that. Who was your editor on this? Was it Andrea?
Yeah, Andrea.
So Andrea, we've had Andrea in the store. So what's it been like working with Scout on this? They're
awesome, man. They're just like those guys just love comics. That's it. They love comics. So for me, it's just a benefit having them. They have experience. They're killing it right now. If you go read their books, they have they're up there with the best books on the shelf. Okay. And I can say that honestly, like the books are really good. So yeah, for that, it's great to have that Houston, as I call them.
Yeah.
Like whatever, any issues that come up, they can figure it out.
Yeah, they've been awesome. Again, David Byrne kind of poked the bear and said, hey, Himkar is kind of local. He can make the appearance. And we got you in here, thankfully. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about, and it's so funny because when you were here earlier, you mentioned that you guys were going golfing.
Yeah.
And then I flipped to the preview for one of the future issues.
Yeah.
And they're out there golfing on Mars, which is like, I mean, most people, you've seen something like that either on a naval ship or something like that. People always have a scene like that. But talk to me.
So if you just so this is Prime Commander Oris. So he's the top guy of Mars, of their governance, and this is Lieutenant Trilly, the second in command.
So they're just taking a day off.
If you see in the background, you can see the city. Yeah, I don't know if it's hard to see.
You can see it a little bit right there. Yeah. That is a building. Yes, that is a city skyline.
So, they're discussing the politics, and
it's very much a scene like, if they're not wearing space helmets and everything, and there's grass there and a city in the background.
Like what else are you gonna do with it? You got all that land, man. You might as well hit some balls.
And I love now. I have to ask because, we've talked about the science and everything.
Yeah.
How would golfing on Mars work? How would driving the ball on Mars work?
Dude, you're gonna drive it like you hit it 200 here, you're gonna hit it 400 there because the air is thinner.
Okay.
Right, so that ball is gonna fly.
And the ball will
Gravity's
still
a
drop
little
though,
less.
right?
Oh yeah, it'll
gra-
drop, but
Okay.
your courses are gonna be huge. Everyone's gonna be like hitting like Tiger out there, man.
So all par threes, right? They're all doing par threes. But no, I thought that was. I just thought, especially since you told me like that's what you were doing before you came here. I'm like, that's great. And I'm guessing. So are you a golfer? And that was why you kind of.
Man, I just go and drink beers and hit balls.
I love it,
I'm
man.
not like,
I just thought it was so coincidental that we literally got that in the back page of the book. But so we got about 5 minutes left here on the interview. Just tell the readers or the viewers what they can expect during this 6-issue journey. You know, don't spoil anything, but tell them kind of what they can expect from the Redshift arc here.
I think just a story about a family trying to stick together when everything around them is crumbling, and how can they accomplish that if they can accomplish that? Can it tear them apart, or will their bonds stick through that and infect the rest of what's happening around them, the situation?
I'm looking forward to getting home and reading the book. I'm looking forward to you saw we gave our intern Josh a copy of the book. He'll be reading it tonight too. Everybody in the building by tomorrow 11 o'clock when you come in will have read the book. Okay. So we're really excited. But you are going to be here tomorrow from 11 to 6. Dude, I'm honestly, man, I'm really expecting a lot of positive things. Like, I'm not just saying this because you're going to be here, sitting there, but I'm expecting a lot of positive things, man. I don't just say this because, trust me, you can ask David. I love David. I love steak, but I didn't rile him up like this when he came by. I really think the premise is great. Yeah, I'm sure he's watching. Ashley just came by a little bit ago, but I really think this is one of Scout's winners right now. I mean, they've had some great hits with Phantom Star Killer, By the Horns. I mean, everything's a winner.
They got a lot of winners. Yeah. So hopefully this can stand up there too.
Yeah, I'm already looking for a second print, bro. I'm already gonna bug him. I'm like, when's that second print coming? Because I know you're gonna need it. So, but yeah, so you'll be here 11 to 6 on Wednesday. Tell the people where they can find you. Are you on social media at all?
Yeah, you can find me on. I don't do Twitter as much as I should. I'm mostly on Instagram because it's easier. You throw up pictures. And let them go. So Instagram, it's HStronic. So HSTRONIC.
I like that.
I'm there. You can chat with me. You can, if you hate the book, tell me. If you like it, tell me.
Now, do you, because I ask a lot of the indie guys this, how much interaction do you do with fans on your social media?
As much as anyone contacts me. If they ever contact me, I'll definitely.
Awesome. That's good to know.
I'll definitely talk. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, follow him, definitely grab the book. We're going to have A covers here for him to sign with lots of different color pens. Obviously, we're going to have red pens. We have ash cans that we'll have available here that he can sign. We also have the web store exclusive, which I love this cover with the skull in there. I think it's very indicative of the book.
Yeah, that's survivalism, man.
Yep, and then we actually also have the incentive right here, which also features a chicken. Again, love that Mars poultry. But we will have
pioneers, man.
Yeah. Somebody had to do it, right?
Pioneer life. Yeah.
So we'll have all 4 of those books here for you to sign Wednesday from 11 to 6. We'll also probably put one of them on our auction show. You'll make a quick appearance if you can.
Awesome.
And man, we can't wait to have you in the building tomorrow. Thanks so much for coming by, man.
Thank you, and thank you all for checking this out.
Yeah, and if you guys get a chance, come by tomorrow, get his autograph. John and Trish Bensington, all you guys know that we also ship them. Just send us a ping, and we'll have him sign it. He can personalize it for free, and we'll send it your way. But thank you again, Himkar. We appreciate it, man, and we'll see you back in here tomorrow.
Yeah, man. Awesome.
So this has been the 44th episode of Collective Spotlight. We will be in the building tomorrow from 11 to 6. We open at 10, but I'm giving him a little bit of time to get in here, get comfortable. I don't need him to get in here right at 10. But we will be here from 11 to 6 with a signing. And again, the book is Redshift. Even if you're not local, check this out. You won't regret it. I promise you. He's been Himkar. I've been Danny. Take it easy, guys. This has been The Collective.